It's the Frank and Friends show.
Hi, I'm Kathryn Frady.
I'm Frank Murphy. What are you doing? Are you doing more Friends and less Friends? Is that what you're doing?
Yeah, I'm doing more Friends, less Friends.
Oh, that song. I know that song. It's Suzanne Vega, right?
I think so. Yeah, I just know, at the opening of a Friends episode, one of them is singing that. You got it in my head because you were singing it.
Well, because, sometimes songs pop into my head, but I think of the version that Richard Cheese did, which is they take that one that you're doing, and he mixes it with the I Dream of Jeannie.
Like that happens at the same time?
We can Google it, but
okay.
I mean, I'm not musical enough to explain it, except that was the shtick.
It's a mashup.
Is that he took I Dream of Jeannie and Tom's Diner. Hey, we've got a website that doesn't have any of those things on it.
frankandfriendshow.com.
And
but you can get our merchandise there.
Like mugs.
Yeah.
Like canvas prints.
And sweatshirts and pint glasses, cell phone cases.
Things.
All the things at frankandfriendshow.com/store.
Happiness and joy available to you for sale. So we had a good show the other day, and I'm glad to be back.
Me too. Yeah.
With more snow, more ice, January, but whatever happens. But I have several things to tell you, and I know you've got some stuff too. So what's on your list? We'll start with you.
Well, I went to the Van Gogh exhibit when I was out of town.
Wouldn't it be appropriate to say you Van went?
I Van went.
You Van went to the Van Gogh? In what state?
I go to the Van Gogh went story. No, I went in Dallas to the Van Gogh exhibit.
They have them in other big cities.
They do. It's actually traveling around, and it's this immersive experience.
Is there only one at a time? Because I feel like, basically based on Facebook posts, I felt like I saw your post from Dallas and someone else's posts from
Houston.
Oh.
You probably saw Whitney.
Yeah.
You probably saw Whitney.
Whitney is the opera singer who looks like a Disney princess?
Yes, the Disney princess opera singer. She's also from Texas, and her family was in Houston, and over the holidays, she went to the Van Gogh exhibit in Houston.
I felt like I saw someone go in Nashville months ago, but also in Atlanta.
It's been in New York, it's been in Toronto. So
it's a big deal.
It's a big deal.
I hosted a fundraiser here in Knoxville, and the lady who had organized the fundraiser, April Comerford, she owns the Pokeworks.
Nice.
If you want to get some Poke Bowls.
Nice.
But she was impressed by it when she went wherever it was. And so she just themed our little thing at the church. She had the blue lights and the stars on the ceiling. And it was just kind of the blue and gold theme. It wasn't a direct ripoff of Van Gogh, but it was certainly reminiscent. And it was well done.
It's a very cool experience. So basically, you walk into the painting, and you can sit around in the gallery.
Does it make you feel all crazy and artistic?
There are some moments.
He's crazy, right?
Well, there are some moments that the way the video moves, because all of the art is done in a video projection, and it's moving throughout the whole time.
Can I ask a very personal question now that you've been immersed in Van Gogh?
Yes.
May I please see both your ears?
They still exist. Yeah.
Okay, I was concerned.
They're not cut off.
I wanted to make sure, because I would worry.
Yeah.
Could be a thing.
That's it. It's a thing. But I left with both my ears.
And so you can still wear glasses.
Yeah. But they have music playing to go through as well, and so you just sit down or walk around if you want, and you see all of the art all the way around the room. It's on
Is
every
it better
single
than a regular
wall.
art gallery? Because I don't go to a lot of art galleries. I've been to an art gallery or two, and
is that your thing?
Well, I mean, I was somewhat interested. Well, one time, my wife and I needed a place to just go hide out from the DC heat, and really we wanted to take a nap, but we couldn't. We were downtown in Washington. We had an event in the late morning, and then there was a long break until the next event. So we went to the National Portrait Gallery, figuring it would be not crowded.
Right.
And we might recognize some of the famous faces on the wall.
Right.
And they had some couches. So we're just sitting there
and relax,
in front of Benjamin Franklin, like leaning on each other's shoulder with our eyes closed. And nobody bothered us for a while. So that was...
So they thought you were homeless and snuck in.
It's certainly possible.
Yeah.
But I think, we were just trying to get out of the heat.
Yeah. Well, this is much Well, I've been to galleries like that, and I do like art museums. So,
Okay.
But
I mean, if you're
this
artistic,
is a very different experience.
I mean, I can't draw for squat. You know, I mean, I have no. To me, it's all just a magic trick, and I'm like, well, you may as well have just bought that at a store because I don't know how you carve. You know, they say Michelangelo. Well, the angel was in the marble. I just set it free. Like, yeah,
You're like about that.
Yeah.
You saw Shadowlight that Marble City Opera did?
yes.
Okay, so you know how there were actors on stage and they were moving and they were in
Yeah, it was immersive,
white
right.
and it was immersive, and we put the art on the wall.
Now, I
and
liked
it was
that
moving.
because I understood that the main character was mentally ill and that he was drawing things
Right.
as a way to express his illness.
I would say the Van Gogh Immersive Experience is very much like that production. There's
But see-
music going and there's video of his artwork and it's all
Yeah.
moving at different times, and some of it, like for instance, there's a picture of a train, and instead of just like showing you like a flash photography of
Yeah.
the train actually moves across the wall.
Oh,
Like the
so the
flowers
paintings come
actually
to
grow.
life. Yeah.
The paintings come to life.
all right. Well, I can see that. That's
Yeah.
interesting.
Yeah.
But I like to see when the painting is of something. You know, so I'm a painting of a train. That's good. Painting of irises, fantastic. I'm all in favor of all of those things, right? But when it's like we watched a show on Netflix or something, and it was about people who had made rip-off versions, imitation versions of abstract impressionistic art. And I'm like, well, you can't tell the difference because the original is not that good. You know, it's like Rothko. Is that Rothko? Is that a thing?
Yeah, it is.
All right, so there's Rothko, and I think what he had a rectangle that was red and a rectangle that was green, and they were on top of each other.
Yeah.
And that was it.
That was it. But
That
doesn't
was-
that give you hope that you could paint something?
I know, I could totally paint that.
Exactly.
But it's not worth $1 million. It's worth, I would be the guy ripping off. It's just terrible. I went to an exhibit with my sister one time at an art museum. We flew all the way across the country to San Francisco. So she was interested in some art school out there. And we went to a abstract expressionist exhibit. But it was one of those ones where, the guy had, Jackson Pollock or somebody, had just basically just gone crazy and just flung splatter paint.
Art is in the eye of the beholder.
Okay. Well, then good. Then I'm totally justified in not liking
Absolutely,
it.
you can.
All right.
That's the joy. I mean, so you don't want to like everything in art. Sometimes you want it to like disgust you or make you angry or hate it. That's good.
No, I'd rather just get a nice.
You just rather like everything.
I want pictures that I like.
Okay.
I'd rather look at photographs, generally speaking, than my daughter draws things that I like.
Okay.
There you go. There's an artist I enjoy. Is my daughter, but I also like it because she's my daughter, but also because they're good pictures.
Well, if you like photographs, have you seen the tintype photography? It's like
From the olden days?
From the olden days?
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you like that?
I mean, I like it when they colorize it and make it look like, this is what the 1900s looked like.
Well, I'm asking because we ran into in the French market in New Orleans. We're walking along and they have all those, vendors and everything in the French market. And one of the people we came across was a woman who was doing tintype photography. And basically, you can set up an appointment, you can get in the photo booth, take a photo, and then they transfer that photo into making it look like a tintype. And it lasts forever.
So what is different between that and going to Gatlinburg and dressing up like a prostitute and a cowboy?
I think
Which we could still
which
do.
you could do, yeah. No, we could do that pretty easily.
Coming up soon on Frank and Friends.
That's actually going to be a great episode.
I wonder which one I'll be.
You'll have to
Go
watch
ahead.
and find out.
Go ahead.
Well, the tintype actually is like a process in which the photographer actually creates the image in like a different way. So I think the one over in Gatlinburg is still just going to be like a
it's a regular photo.
photograph.
Yeah.
And it will deteriorate over time.
Right, they just put in the sepia filter.
Right.
And that's
But the
that.
tintype is actually like a style of photography that they did in the old
Do they make it
days.
on tin?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
All right, then I'm all in favor of it.
That's pretty cool. They had these really interesting like plaques and different ways that you could frame it and everything.
You know who else used the methods of the old days to create something new?
Who, Frank?
My friend Maureen at the Middletown Barn.
Oh, yes, Maureen.
When last time around we showed you the picture that I took of the barn being, mortise and tenon, it's called, where they used wooden pegs and they fit the pieces of the barn together, and it's more sturdy.
Like Lincoln logs.
Yeah. And this is the way they did it before they would use nails and other modern conveniences. So she built this beautiful, they call it the Gucci barn, because it's so beautiful, but it's rustic and it's luxurious, and you can go there under the Swarovski crystals and feel like, it's this mishmash of, well, that's modern and beautiful and luxurious, but I'm in this rustic barn on an actual operating horse farm.
That's so cool.
In horse country, or hunt country, they call it, in Middletown, Virginia.
So it's rustic chic.
Yeah, all of that stuff. And she's into it, Maureen is, and you can, when you rent out the Middleburg Barn for your party event.
Wedding.
Yeah, whatever, charity event, opera show, whatever you want to rent it out for. You get it for the whole day. You don't have to worry about getting out of there because someone else is coming. Like if you have an afternoon wedding, well, you just rent it up till midnight. You get the thing.
The whole day.
Yeah, they don't double book, because
that's
how they, they want to make sure everybody has a top-notch quality experience.
Customers are happy. Yeah.
So look up the MiddleburgBarn.com or call Maureen at area code 540-687-5255. And find out if that's perfect for you in the Washington, D.C. area. It's, how many miles did I say west of?
20 or
40 miles out west of Washington, and 25 minutes from Dulles Airport, assuming that you're driving 60 miles an hour,
Which I am, at least.
So, if you hit some of that Dulles Airport traffic, it might be a little longer.
Yeah, true.
But I was looking at I got one of those maps from Google the other day telling me every place I'd been in the past 2 years.
Oh, that's interesting.
And this is going to sound horrible, I didn't realize the hospice where my mother was so close to Middleburg.
Oh.
Because I could have gone, Maureen,
yeah.
except my mom, I couldn't leave. So Maureen, I'm sorry, next time we're up that way, we'll stop by the Middleburg Barn.
Yeah.
That's fun.
I do want to go check that out one day. I have to take a road trip.
Yeah. Well, we're trying to keep a good schedule here of doing the shows. And in fact, with the, you're traveling, because you also went to Florida for an audition.
I did. I got back, and I was actually supposed to go to New York also, but the conference I was going to go to got canceled because of COVID. So.
Oh, no.
Yeah, I was supposed to be gone all last week. I ended up having to change my flight because I got an audition in Florida, so I flew to Florida instead of New York, which no one's going to complain about that.
Well, Renee, who watches our episodes religiously, was so excited that we were back because we had been gone for 2 weeks.
Renee.
And I think she goes by Katya on the show, on the comments. And then I felt bad, like, oh no, Renee's going to get mad because we had another gap between episodes because of all of this. So you and I are texting each other back and forth trying to figure out when can we meet up and record.
Yes, because I'm trying not to be a disappointment.
Me neither. I have not been idle. I've been busy doing the Scholars Bowl press tour for the first part of January.
Yeah. And
running around, doing other stuff. I want to tell you about this dinner date I went out on. Dinner date? This is
Does Jerry know about this?
Maybe it's not a date. What would you call it? Well, anyway, so Kathryn's like, well, what day is good for you? And I'm like, well, all right, if we record, because I wanted to record over the weekend, but you had to prepare stuff for a board meeting, and you had a lot of work to do. And I'm not trying to cry about this, but it worked out. No, it just worked out that I ended up with this gap which is bad for me. Gaps are bad for me.
Especially when the snow is falling and it's getting cold and it's gray.
Because I can't go out. I don't want to go out. I won't go outside. Snow is like COVID to me. I won't go near it.
Don't touch it.
I don't want to be anything to do with it. But it means that I end up, getting into this kind of rut. Yeah. This emotional, depressive rut where I'm like, oh, I don't have a show to do today.
Yeah.
And I didn't know what to do with myself. So that's bad.
Yeah.
But then I get a text from you saying, oh, you can come. And I'm all excited again, as you can tell. And I said, well, okay, if we film that day, then it's going to be tight because I have Einstein Simplified, and then I have to go meet up with Marshall Andy, and then we're going to the Nativity pageant dinner.
Right.
So it's multiple things. I said, well, all right, I'll try to edit a little bit as best I can. In fact, I think you asked me what days do I like to edit, because you can record on Tuesdays.
Right. And so I was trying to see if there's a better day that you like to record, because I like to record on the same day every week so I can just kind of plan my schedule.
Whereas I like to just record every day.
Right. have so much to do.
Just come over every day.
Oh my goodness.
We'll make a new show every day.
I want to talk about OCD, my schedule. Ooh.
That's not how it goes. So you text me. Well, in fact, here, I'll put it on the screen. Kathryn says,
ideally, what days do you prefer to edit?
And I said, well, it's best for me to do a little every day.
And so I started laughing hysterically.
And what's funny about that? I mean, I'm trying to do a little bit every day so that because it takes time to edit these things. It takes hours.
I know. And then I was like, why am I laughing? I think I might have read that wrong. And so I went back and looked at it and I was like, wait, he said, best for me is to do a little every day. I thought what you said was best for me is to do very little every day.
So here I am, not telling you that I'm a little bit depressed, and I'm getting this crying emoji of laughter. And I think, oh, Kathryn, how do I don't know. Maybe this isn't going to work out.
Yeah, sorry about that. I didn't mean to laugh at you.
Just brutal.
Just read it wrong. Yeah.
Well, one thing that I did get to do was I got to meet up with some old friends. So that's good.
That's good.
You know, keeping me busy is always a good thing. So this DJ that I worked with in Los Angeles then went on and worked in Houston. Much like I left Los Angeles and came here, he left Los Angeles and went to Houston. And was very successful in Houston. And by coincidence, he worked at the top. Well, coincidence, he's good. He worked at the top station, which I think is at the time was KRBE.
Okay.
I worked with him at Power 106 in Los Angeles when it was the top station. And then he's in Houston at KRBE. And my friend Becca James, who has filled in on this show.
Who has two names.
And has done the Kearn's Christmas Parade with me. Also is from Houston. Also worked at the top station, KRBE. She knows the guy. And in the course of one of these conversations, we're like, we can't believe that we both know Dave Morales.
Yeah, lots of Texas connections here.
Yeah. So Dave Morales, I get a text from Becca, says, Morales is coming to town. We're going to dinner on January 10th, I think it was. Block out your calendar. I'm like, okay. Afraid he's out of town. What difference does it make? Because you were.
I was, yeah.
So I'm like, my wife has Knoxville Choral Society. You're gone. I'm like, well, I'm going to be sitting home alone feeling sorry for myself. So yes, I'm coming to dinner. So in the course of these text conversations back and forth, we're trying to figure out where to go. And they want to meet at Market Square because it makes sense, right? Yeah. Well, Morales says, well, we just got into the hotel and, we'll be there in a while. And I'm thinking, okay. And I'm assuming, because I'm obnoxious, that I'm assuming he's probably staying in like the Hotel Oliver.
Well, yes, it's a very nice.
Or the Crown Plaza or the new Hyatt Regency or the Embassy Suites.
There's some really nice hotels downtown.
And there's more coming.
Yeah.
Well, it turns out that he got it on Priceline and was in Lenore City.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And we're yelling at him, going, why the heck?
Did you go to Lenore City?
And it's like, it's only an hour away. Like, what do you guess is an hour away?
But did he fly into Knoxville?
No, he flew into Nashville because he'll only fly Southwest.
Okay.
So, because he's got a zillion miles.
But Houston has direct flights to Knoxville now.
But not on Southwest.
I know.
No, he flies Southwest.
My goodness.
So he flies into Nashville, and then they look on Priceline, and he apparently says, well, in Houston, and being an hour away is nothing.
Well, that's true. I mean, people in Texas, especially in Houston and Dallas Metroplex, they drive that far every day, like to go to work or
so
whatever.
There was nothing to them
not a big deal.
To stay in a hotel in Lenore City. And we're walking around downtown. I'm like, well, you could have stayed there, you could have stayed there, you could have stayed there.
Yeah.
So next time he comes to town, I think he's going to try to stay a little closer.
That's good.
But I mean, there's a bazillion hotels because of the Vols. Peyton Manning has an all Vols themed hotel.
Yep.
Everything's orange.
Yep.
Well, anyway, so they drive in from Lenore City, and we're going to figure out where to eat at Market Square. And this conversation is going back and forth because I go to Market Square every Tuesday. But now it's a Monday, so it's been 6 days since I've been. And I'm just going down the row, and someone says, I said, I like Not Watson's, which is confusing to someone out of town because they thought I didn't like Watson's.
Right, because you said Not Watson's.
But I do like Not Watson's, which is the name of a restaurant. So we ended up not going to Not Watson's because that was too confusing. I suggested Soccer Taco. Becca thought this was a terrible idea. How dare I insult someone from Texas and just take them to a Tennessee taco place?
I mean,
what a horrible insult.
Well, first of all, there are not really any places to get good Tex-Mex in Knoxville at all.
That's what Becca said also.
Well, I mean, she's a Texas girl. Thank you, Becca. I mean, that was the first thing I tried to do when we got to Knoxville, when we moved here 10 years ago. I was like, where are the good margaritas? Like, I'm not going to survive if I don't have good margaritas.
And they don't have them.
They don't have them, which is why I've switched to cider.
Oh, well, I like that. So that makes us something drinking buddies, though.
Yeah,
I like
know.
that.
But
okay.
every time I go back to Texas, I have to get a good margarita.
So Soccer Taco's out. Stock and Barrel was either too crowded or something. And we end up saying, well, Tupelo Honey. But Tupelo Honey had been closed for multiple weeks. They completely renovated the inside of it. And I text back, I'm not sure if Tupelo has reopened. So we're going back and forth and involving poor Dave in this three-way conversation that he doesn't need to be a part of.
Yeah, right.
And finally, I just call Tupelo and find out they had just reopened like the day before.
Perfect.
So we're going to Tupelo. So now, but we're referring to it as Tupelo. So we're telling a guy who's in Lenore City to meet us in Tupelo.
Which is actually Tupelo Honey.
And he's putting it into his GPS.
And he can't find Tupelo.
Well, because Tupelo, Mississippi comes up. But then he realizes, oh, Tupelo Honey, it's actually a chain. He travels all over the world.
Yeah.
He's heard of it. But because he's so far away from downtown Knoxville, his GPS is trying to take him to the Tupelo Honey in Franklin, Tennessee.
I was going to say, there's also one in Asheville it could have taken him to.
Yes. So anyway, finally, we figure out, no, just go to Market Square. I'm literally sending him the Google Maps link because Becca is sending him the Apple Maps link, but he's a droid, so he can't read the Apple Maps. So all of this is happening.
That's a good time.
And meanwhile, I show up, I had a TV interview for Scholars Bowl, and I get down to the parking garage an hour early.
That's good.
And I sat in my car and I downloaded the PBS app and I watched myself on Scholars Bowl. It was the premiere. It was the first episode. How could I not?
That's great.
So I watched that, and then when the episode's over, I walked to Tupelo, and I'm still the first one there, because now I'm still, 20 minutes ahead.
Right.
So Robert, the server, he puts me in a corner. He's explaining, oh yeah, we added like 40 seats with the renovations, much bigger,
nice,
more spread out, spacious, blah, blah, blah.
Nice.
Well, if you go to Tupelo Honey, holy cow, Brussels sprouts.
Do they have good Brussels sprouts?
No,
I love Brussels sprouts.
They don't have good Brussels sprouts.
They have holy moly Brussels sprouts?
They have great to amazing to wow Brussels sprouts.
Well, I'm going to have to go.
I'll go there with you just to get Brussels sprouts. We can go there and just order an appetizer size of just sit there and eat Brussels sprouts.
That's very exciting to me.
So I had it as my side.
Okay.
And if you had told me at any point in my life prior to 10 or 15 years ago that I would love Brussels sprouts, I would have thought you were crazy.
Yeah.
Because the way my mother cooked them, they were awful. She would like boil them. It was disgusting.
Yeah, boiling Brussels sprouts is not.
No.
Not
But
the
these
way
are
to go.
they're a little salty, but they're but I had it with the meatloaf, which had some chorizo in it.
Okay.
So it was a very good meal. I loved every bit
Do
of
they
it.
have bacon in them?
I don't
Or
think
is it
so.
honey?
I think it was honey and a little bit of spice. They were spicy and salty and sweet and crispy and everything all at the same time. They were just perfect. They were just perfect. And so then after, we closed the place. They closed at 8 o'clock on Mondays. We totally closed the joint. And Morales, they're on Texas time or Hollywood time, whatever they were, or they most recently were. Because he's a movie reviewer or movie guy.
Yeah, the night is just starting.
Yeah,
now.
he flies around the world to press junkets to interview celebrities in London, Hollywood, New York. I mean, he had just done the cast of Spider-Man and, all these
Very
people.
Cool.
And they all know him because he's been doing it for so long now.
Very cool.
So it's extremely cool. And he's got all these stories to tell about all these people. And we want to reminisce about his time with Becca in Houston and his time with me in Los Angeles. The time, we put the Conehead hat on him, dressed him up as an actual Conehead. Paramount put the official Conehead makeup on him for the premiere of that movie back in the 90s.
Very fun.
So many stories. So now we got to go someplace else. Got to find another place to go.
So where did you go? That's open at 8 o'clock on a Monday night.
Well, when you're sitting in Tupelo Honey and you go out to the back, the bathroom for Tupelo Honey, it's the same bathroom for the Oliver Royale,
right,
and the Oliver Hotel. They're all
connected,
and the Peter Kearn Library, which is the lobby bar at the Oliver Hotel. But they call it a speakeasy.
Well, yeah, because it's fabulous. It has that wall in the
as a bookcase that
slides over,
and that's the secret entrance from the lobby
of the hotel. And then there's an actual speakeasy
with a red light
entrance with the red light and the back
and a peekaboo, right?
Yep.
So
they only allow 10 people in at a time, even on a.
Wait, you already knew that? We found out the hard way.
Well. I'm friends with this person named Brandon Gibson.
Yeah.
If you attend...
He's Mr. Downtown.
Yes, and if you go with Brandon Gibson, you can get in.
Well, I thought I could get in. Frank Flippin' Murphy. I thought I could maybe get in, but they didn't know. Nobody knew who I was. Remember, I had just been to the Oliver. Remember last week? I told you
yeah.
I had just been to the Oliver to steal some copies of VIP
They
Knoxville
probably
magazine.
tagged you. Yeah.
So here I am, hoping that my friend AJ Dave is working, and I just missed him again because he could get me in.
Right.
Right. He's the only person there I know. But these other people are like, oh no, he's already gone. You know, who are you? Who are you? I'm like, I'm nobody. So we come out of Tupelo, we use the restroom, and then we go down the hall to sneak in to the speakeasy side of the Peter Kearn Library. And there's a guy there with like the valet desk, and he's looking at us. And he's telling, well, a couple of things that you need to know. Right now we're at capacity. So you'd have to wait for someone to leave. It's probably about a 45-minute wait. And that's not what we're going to do. We're going to just go sit somewhere else and talk loudly about Hollywood stars. Absolutely. So we go, that's number one, that's not going to work. And he says, I'm just, I know it's for future reference. We don't allow cargo shorts.
Do they not?
And he's looking at Morales, who's got on his backwards ball cap and his T-shirt.
He didn't even know who he is.
And his cargo shorts. And like, well, yeah, cargo shorts are not allowed.
No, they did not say that.
And I am wearing a Brooks Brothers shirt and some khaki slacks, so I think I'm okay. But Morales has got on his cargo shorts, and that's not allowed. And they also then tell us that, when you come back, you'll just give me the 4-digit password to get in.
What?
Yes.
What?
Yes. No. So too crowded. No cargo shorts. 4-digit password.
Wow.
So we are now.
It's gotten a little out of hand over there.
It's a Monday at 8:30.
That's crazy. You used to just be able to like sneak in through that wall and get in, and no one knew about it. And now it's like this like. I
went there with Christian one time. We had Moscow Mules, and we recorded an episode that got so out of hand we never published it.
There's a lot in that library to talk about.
Yeah, so.
That creepy painting.
So I think, is that a show? Do we make a show? We did.
That's a show.
All right. Well, I appreciate you, Frady. Thank you so much for being here. And if you want to listen to more great, exciting entertainment like this, including this, you can catch it on Audible.
audibletrial.com/Frank and Friends Show.
To get a free 30-day trial, download anything you want during the course of that 30-day trial.
And get to keep it.
Yeah, and then when you renew and start paying for it, then you get more of those downloads and so on and so on and so on. But you can binge a whole series. You can listen to an audiobook. There's exclusive content that they're making just for Audible members now.
That's very exciting.
It's kind of like, Amazon owns Audible, so it's kind of like Amazon Prime, they have shows that are just on that. Well, they're doing the same thing with Audible. So if you're into whether it's podcasts or just dramas, comedies, just the whole idea of listening while you're driving, while you're laying in bed, while you're working around the house on your Amazon Echo. It's very freeing.
Yeah.
That's why podcasts are so popular, is because you can put it on the earbuds or just put it in the house.
And listen to it while you're doing other things.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So check out audibletrial.com/Frank and Friends Show. And that's how they'll know that you got it from us. It benefits you're supporting our show while you do that, and we do appreciate it.
Yes, thank you.
We also thank you for telling your friends about us, for liking, sharing, subscribing.
And smashing that button.
For notifications. You also can find out about our merch at frankandfriendsshow.com/store. Mm-hmm. All right. Well, that's about everything. And
that's
I think
all the things.
I think I see this battery. I'm blanking red, which means I got to hurry up and shut up.
We're getting the hook. Oh, my goodness. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Kathryn Frady.
I'm Frank Murphy.
See you next time.